What's the old joke the preachers told in Alabama about the shoe shine boy? The guy stepped up, put his shoes up on the box for the shoes. He said, "I want my shoes to look like just like that guy." And he says, "Sir, you're going to bring me better leather. If yeah, I can shine it, I can polish it, but I can't change the essence of the shoe that you're bringing to me." You know, you're one of these great podcast guests in that we can talk about.
Yeah, we can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Anything you want to talk about.
Talk about staff dysfunction or
leadership or
what do you do with old associates?
Yeah, how good stuff. Now let's pick up on that. And I hadn't expected to talk to you, but your conversation about your relationship with our friend Darren.
Yeah.
Darren Tyler is pastor of Conduit Church, who's a friend of this ministry, been on this podcast, have great love, admiration for Darren and his. You know, we joke with Darren in that we don't ever know where he is till we see the news.
Yeah.
And then where something's blowing up, we figure he is either there or waiting to get State Department permission to fly in.
You just read New York Times and kind of figure out where he is.
Okay, he's probably in this country. Now, you have known Darren since he was a teenager.
Yeah, 18, going to Bible college.
One of the emphasis that the Engaged Church Network has is every Paul has a Timothy.
Yeah.
And every Timothy has to have a Paul.
Right.
So, you know, we know, and understand how I'm saying this. I'm not saying this to flatter you. I'm saying this because this is the reality of kingdom life.
Right.
There is no Darren without you or someone like you pouring into his life.
Well, I know in my life, you know, I have been serving pastors since I was in my 20s, and every man of God put something in me that needed to be deposited. Yeah. I'm the greatest hits of every guy that I've gotten to serve, every person, and every church assignment has been a God assignment. And it's you know, I am, you know, there's good parts, there's bad parts. You just don't learn the bad parts.
But all of that's part of the education.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I see today that bothers me about how we train ministers and things is people don't understand the importance of being mentored.
Right.
And being taught and learning and what each person brings. And, you know, there is, you know, there's no longevity or fruit without duplicating yourself in somebody else.
Right. Who was your first mentor?
Well, it was my very first pastor that I served in Jackson, Mississippi. I almost went to Sanford. I signed a letter of intent back when they quit football.
Gosh, yeah.
And there were 22 of us from Alabama that ended up at Mississippi College, Mississippi's Baptist School. And so all these old Alabama folks ended up there in Mississippi. And so I graduated from MC, and I started dating this little Assembly of God girl that I ended up marrying. And so like I said a minute ago, I have this horrible habit of ending up on staff at churches I attend. And I was attending church there at Southside Assembly of God. And my first pastor, Jabby Wilson, was the best first pastor that I could have ever served because although I was the Christian ed guy, which we all know means anything the pastor doesn't want to fool with. One of the first,
and other duties as a sign.
But one of the great things is he put me over 18 shut-ins, and I ended up burying every one of them and learning how to do funerals
Yeah.
and being, working with kids. I did a lot of baptisms, a lot of weddings, and he just let you learn by doing. He took me with him everywhere he went.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that in our hierarchy,
Exactly.
running our churches
we're trying to
like
get back
CEOs,
to that, right?
we don't understand putting into folks. And that's really what I'm doing at Conduit right now is the XP of ministries. I'm just putting in the younger folks and just showing them how do you make a hospital call? How do you do these things? And
Well, I tell people, I said, I learned to be a pastor from old guys who for whatever reason loved me.
Yeah.
And would sit me down over a cup of coffee and go, here's how you do this. Yeah. Here's how you handle this. Yeah. I heard you got a problem. Now let's walk through this.
So good.
And here's how. Now I am the old guy.
Yeah, well, we're running out of old guys because, we went through this stage where once you got in your 50s, nobody wanted to hire you. And I ran a headhunting service for the Orange folks for a while, and it was funny when they'd talk to a 60-year-old headhunter and say, I won't hire anybody over 35.
Yeah.
And, that was kind of funny. Well, you just hired me to help you find somebody. And, but, that's the thing is I think we're out of the skinny jeans phase, thank the Lord, and realize that old guys still have something to teach.
Right.
And I think the important thing, though, Mike, is you have to realize for the first time ever in church, there's 5 generations that are working together. And you got old folks and you got all the gens and all the different folks working. And one book that I really have enjoyed is called A New Kind of Diversity. And it talks about understanding
the generational diversity.
The generational diversity. Because for the first time on staffs, I like an office where I can shut the door.
Yeah.
These 25-year-olds, they all want to sit at a community table.
That's right, yeah.
And they get stuff done at the community table.
Walk around with earpods in, yeah.
And they're all just sitting there talking to one another, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But I've learned to give them the freedom to lead at their level, and that's what's been fun.
Right.
Is just realizing that I can learn from them, they can learn from me, and I wake up every day wanting to learn something.
Oh yeah, that's me.
And I've learned so much, about AI and all the different things that, from youth pastors that and things. But it's important that we keep learning, we keep growing, we keep putting into this next generation, and everybody needs a mentor.
Yes. So, what do you look for as a Paul to determine who the Timothy is that you'll invest in?
I look for questions. If you're not asking questions, it's the folks that stay behind, ask the question. These young folks, they won't ask questions in front of other people.
That's right.
But they will wait and get by themselves. They'll DM you. If I see hunger, if I see a want to learn.
Good word. Good word.
I'm looking for questions. I have a Little Mighty Networks online community that I was able to put all my books, all my articles, everything I've done is kind of a legacy thing. And I priced it at just dirt cheap. And if somebody won't join that and spend what I'm charging, which is chicken feed for your life's work, I realize they're not serious. They're not serious. And so those folks, they have my cell phone. I reach out to them. I do a monthly coaching call. I do a members only podcast for them. And so Next Gen Leader Lab is where I'm putting into younger folks. And so I just look for people that show a want to learn.
Mm-hmm. Now, you haven't said anything in that about talent. You haven't said anything in there about ability or gifting.
No. Another thing that draws me is loyalty. You can't teach loyalty.
Character.
And that character, and so if when I speak at conferences, there's always those young kids that go to your first workshop, and if you teach 8, they'll be at all 8.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kids I start noticing, and I reach out to. And a lot of times when I was doing group coaching and things, I'd say, "Hey, I want to give you 6 months of coaching." Because if they cared enough to go to everything I taught at a conference, there's something in that person
that has connected
that I want to.
With who they are and who you are.
Yeah. So that's very important to me. You can teach skill. You can teach a lot of different how to do things. But they've got to have that character. They've got to have that want to, and that openness to learn.
Yeah. What's the old joke the preachers told in Alabama about the shoe shine boy? The guy stepped up, put his shoes up on the box for the shoes. And he said, "I want my shoes to look just like that guy." And he says, "Sir, you're going to bring me better leather. If I can shine it, I can polish it, but I can't change the essence of the shoe that you're bringing to me."
And that's it. I look for just folks that want to learn, and there's so many voices and options people have to learn. And it's sad when they don't take advantage of any of them.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons we've started school here at the Engagers Network, because one is the quality of the faculty, the people like you who are here in Middle Tennessee that we can ask who are eager to be part of this.
If we trained our doctors the way we train our preachers, I would never go to the doctor. Again, I don't want to take a pioneering class from someone who's never pioneered church.
Yeah, exactly right.
Someone who's never led
someone
a
who
staff.
wants to talk about preaching, but they've never had to do a sermon in the daily throes of a church.
Well, I know in my undergraduate degree, as well as my postgraduate degrees, it's crazy. I never baptized anybody. I never did a funeral. I never did a wedding. It wasn't until I worked in my first church and I had that great first pastor that said, "Let me teach you how to do this. Let me show you when you go to the hospital, knock on the door, because you don't know what's on the other side.
Yeah, you don't know
of that
treatment.
Door, and all those things." And so, thank the Lord, I had hands-on experience.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I remember the second church I worked at, there was an older minister there that he knew the pastor I'd worked for. And he said, "Thank God the Lord sent me some help, because I know you know how to do stuff." And he said, these other folks that are on the staff, I'm showing them what to do, and you can help me do it.
Who taught you that when you baptize in a river, you baptize into the current?
Yeah.
Because if you lay them with the current, they'll slip out of your hands and you'll lose the moment.
Or you make sure there's a butter knife in the hem of the little girl's dress.
So it doesn't float up on her, Yeah. There are some things that you just learn from the experts.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. What is key for a Paul to make sure a Timothy knows?
Well, I think the main thing that they need to know, you don't have to do everything just like that Paul.
Yeah.
But you need to reflect their heart. Jesus said, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And I know serving pastors, Darren and I have different preaching skills. I look at, how Darren teaches, and I tried, after 50 years, I first time I tried
Gonna
to
throw a new
follow
pitch,
that,
huh?
and I looked at him and I said, Bub, this is Saul's armor. I can't do this.
Now explain that. I know what you're talking about with Saul's armor.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Yeah. Now, it's a story of David before he fights Goliath. He's
Yes.
talking to King Saul. King Saul says, "Wear my armor,"
Right.
which wasn't made for David, didn't fit David.
No.
And took away
Totally different weapons,
took away
all the skill
everything
level.
David could bring to that battle.
Yeah.
And
So to me, now every time I speak, I dance with the girl that brought me to the dance, and I do the things that, talking about parenting, and talking about the family, and talking about all the things that, has been the world that God called me to work on, and
the truths that you that you've learned forged through your personality and life experience.
Right. And so I think the main thing they need to know, you need to reflect the heart, but you don't necessarily have to copy the style or even use the same weapons.
No.
I think that understanding how God made us all differently, and but at the same time, learning what we can from that individual. And I've never learned everything from one person.
No.
You just learn what the Lord put them in your life to learn from, and then go from there. And where we've had tremendous church growth in the last 2 years at Conduit. And
somebody was telling me, was it Darren telling me that you guys turned away 200 cars last week or the week before?
Yeah, so that it's been the craziest thing of it's funny how a donut hole can move people from one service to another. That asking them to change has not. And
but we'll feed you if you show up
When we were
here.
launching the 5, it was blow up games and hamburgers and hot dogs, and now we had to turn away all these cars a few weeks ago from the 945, and it was opening up a special program for our older elementary kids that wasn't at the other, that moved the needle to get them to the 1145.
There you go.
And so, as a consultant, I've always told people in multiple services, you do everything the same.
Right.
And I'm having to eat those words now because, we're having to do I've never in all my life of crazy growth had a mega church with a small auditorium.
Yeah.
And so it's a whole new set of problems.
Well, you're back to that to the book you mentioned earlier about a different kind of diversity.
Yeah.
And you're having, if you had a Korean service, then you would have Korean preachers, but you've got different diversity now.
Yeah.
And so you have to do the services in response to that diversity.
And our 5 o'clock service has kind of been the Californian service because Sunday morning, they're not Southern at all. So Sunday morning means nothing.
No, that's right. I'm going to get up and go have breakfast and read
so
the paper.
They're brunching and carrying on and doing everything, and then want to have Jesus before they go to bed. And so, we're my friend Alan Jackson once said, if folks will come to church Tuesday afternoon at 3:30, I'll do a Tuesday afternoon service at 3:30.
Exactly right. Well, for a long time at Brentwood, when I was there, we had a Kairos service. Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And it was blowing and going. We couldn't figure out why it worked.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. I was on staff at the Belonging, and how it started was as a Bible study on Tuesday nights for musicians because they couldn't come on Sunday because
they're on the road.
They're on the road and they're coming off the bus, and the first thing churches were doing was canceling Sunday night services. And so, they're not going to come midweek because they load the bus.
Load the bus.
So it was just a bunch of musicians that started as a Bible study that ended up being a church, and they still have Tuesday nights. Those original musicians are now all married and got kids and running studios instead of playing in bands,
getting on the bus,
rather than getting on the bus. But that Tuesday night service is still a big
valid
in what they do, and so that's the thing is. For years, and you've seen this, being pastor of a mega church, folks would come and just do thus saith the seminar speaker rather than get on their face before God and say, Lord, what do you want us to do?
Exactly.
And that's been what's been great about Darren and Conduit is we've just said, okay, Lord, this is a unique situation. Show us what to do. And we try it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, we're only married to our spouses. We're not married to any of this other stuff, and we'll change that. But it's been fun to just look at that formula and looking, and we've got a great team.
And
the other thing is just the culture.
Yeah, we're really big fans of Conduit here.
Yeah, it's the healthiest staff culture that I've ever seen.
Now, I know some of the staff, so let's not push it.
I'm not saying that we're good looking. I'm just saying it's just healthy, and there's a real push to rest.
Yeah,
it's the first place I've ever worked where I have to go to the folks that work for me and say, "Don't come in tomorrow."
Yeah.
You need to take some time off. And Darren's such a blessing. He'll say, "Do I need to Venmo them some money so they can go do stuff with their family?"
Yeah. Your career and your ministry has been from A to Z, north to south, east to west. You've the children's ministry, one of the first ones to do puppets, one of the first ones to have a video curriculum. And we talk about that, and everybody online and on YouTube and that kind of stuff. Brother, you are cutting edge.
Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between creativity and innovation.
Yeah,
and creativity takes something that already exists and make it better. When children's ministry, Sunday school was king,
right?
And our growing up, I mean. In the Baptist church, I don't know anybody that, you don't hear this today, but folks would come out and say, "Are you going to stay for church after Sunday school?"
Exactly right, yeah.
And,
it really counted if you went to Sunday school.
It only counted if you went to Sunday school. And now it's flipped. Whatever you do in that hour, it's funny. If we have small group Sunday school or extended session, anything, we call it Sunday school, but just whatever you do at 9:45. But, now it's all about worship and all about that worship service. And, it's one of those things that in the 70s, when the modern children's ministry movement happened, Awana and clubs and was in the 40s, Christian camps really burst out in the 60s. VBS has been around since the 40s and 50s. But children's church and children's worship really was a new thing in the mid-70s. And the idea of having a children's pastor, if you weren't at a church of at least 1,500 to 2,000, nobody had a children's pastor. And really, the Southern Baptists were kind of last to get. They were on
that was
that was an oddity in the seminaries and stuff to have a children's pastor, and it was the Assemblies of God, the Church of God, the Pentecostal denominations that took that children's evangelists and said, what we have at camp, we want to have on Sundays every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so guys like Big John McPherson, Captain Hook, Willie George, and Gospel Bill, they were the first.
Yeah.
And really started, the folks. I worked at Church on the Move under Pastor Willie for 17 years. And it was so fun to just be somewhere that Pastor Willie would tell me, Wideman, quit selling me. I'm already sold. He asked me one time, he said, why, do you know why I hired you? And I said, because I'm incredibly good looking. He said, no, it had nothing to do with it. He said, you built good children's ministries in places that didn't want one. And I figured if you did that, what would you do in a place that wanted one?
Wow.
And those were the most fun 17 years of my life, just getting to train children's workers and conferences and seminars and as well as just training workers and spreading children's ministry.
Yeah.
And
What have been the common themes?
well, in my life, it's all been helping a pastor. To me, I asked the Lord, if you've been faithful in small things, He'll make you a ruler over much. But I knew I wasn't called to be a senior pastor. So I said, Lord, what is my own thing? And He said, helping lots of senior pastors.
There you go.
And so that's been the thing, whether it be through consulting or coaching or mentoring or doing conferences and things. Once you work at a church over 10,000, nobody wants you to preach. They just want you to come be a secret shopper and tell them what to do to break the 2,000 barrier and all those things. And so that's been just the doors the Lord has opened for me. But, in 1978, I was an old youth pastor. I got saved in the Jesus movement.
Right.
If you ever took drugs in the 70s, they just put you in the youth group. They just wanted to hear your testimony,
great testimony.
And then they wanted to know if you ever took drugs, and if you did, they just put you in the youth ministry. And so I was leading worship and helping the youth pastor and doing these things. And the lady that was over children's ministry quit. And we don't know what happened to her. We've never seen her again. And my pastor told me, he said, grab your Bible, get your guitar, put your hair in a ponytail, and go to children's church and don't come out. And, to me, I don't really think God calls associates to a particular ministry. I don't think you're just called to youth or children. No matter, I've been a utility guy most of my life, and I've had everybody's job at every church I've worked at till we hire somebody, and I've had to run those departments. And God,
that was Jim Jenkins on my team.
Yeah, and God doesn't bless me because I'm a good children's pastor. He blesses me because I'm there to help my pastor, and whatever my pastor needs help with.
All right, I love this understanding. I'm there to help the pastor. What are the helps that most pastors need?
Well,
give me the top 3 to 5.
The number one thing is whatever else is going on during the service, the senior pastor already has a gig. It's the main service or that adult service. So anything that's going on at the same time, whether it be the ministry of helps, ushers, greeters, guest services, if there's small groups going on, if there's youth or children, preschool, nursery, all these parking lot, all the different things that are going on at the same time, because that's a reflection of the senior pastor's vision, his heart. People don't come as individuals, they come as family units. And being able to reflect that heart in every area of the church. And, there's some churches that are friendlier than others, and that's a reflection. And those other ministries and things, and it doesn't matter if, I'm wearing an XP hat and solving problems on Sundays, but I'm also able to walk through a children's hallway and see more than hallway.
Right.
And like that other fat bearded guy made me a list and check it twice, and we fix it by the next Sunday. And the folks we catch doing right, we brag and make a big deal over. And I've had a lot of people say, do you regret not being a senior pastor? Not at all, because nowhere in the Bible was, a second guy or an assistant. They're the only ones with a double anointing.
Right.
And so that's been the thing that that mantle and representing your pastor and being able to help. And, I've gone from XP of family ministries to I was on staff at a church, and we just needed somebody to do operations.
Right, yeah.
And, the Lord helped me do operations because that's what my pastor needed. Not that I was, called to noses and toilet paper, but that was the area that they needed me to help.
Yeah.
And, now at Conduit, I love helping on the ministry side of things and putting into these young folks. But whatever my pastor needs help with, then that's the things that I want to do. And you need a staff. We look, the thing about Timothy's, they were called to a man.
Right.
And you look at every key man, they're called to a particular people group, a place,
right.
those things.
Right.
That's the senior pastor's calling. But those associates, they're called to a man. And, I have burned the ships. I'm at Conduit with Darren as long as he needs me. And that's one of those things that I believe that associates are called to a person, not called to a particular ministry. And we see that in the Bible.
Yeah, good stuff. We got to have you back. There's a lot more.
I'd love to come.
There's a lot more we got to talk about. How can people get hold of your stuff?
Well, JimWideman.com or either the nextgenleaderlab.com. Both of those is how you get in touch. All
right. You heard it here. That's Jim Wideman. Thanks for being with us.
It was fun.
This has been now we gotta pull this podcast to an end. We got to pray for Alabama football.
Oh,
that's our big burden here right now.
Some things just happen with fasting and praying. Right. I think we need to fast for Alabama football.
No kidding. I'm Mike Glenn. This is the Engaged Church Network podcast. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for tuning in to the Engaged Church Network podcast. We exist to train healthy and skilled leaders for congregations throughout Middle Tennessee. If today's episode helped you, share it with a fellow leader. And don't forget to visit engagedchurchnetwork.com for more ways to grow.